Stop. Just pay attention. Here we go. These are all AP questions. So each of these is going to be from an AP test. They are the free response portion. They're on there almost every year. Okay? You guys had one on your mock exam we did the other day. They're almost always on there. They don't have to be, but normally there is one. All right? They could be calculator or non-calculator. The ones we're going to do today, I believe most of them are calculator. Let R and S be the regions in this first quadrant. The region R is bounded by these two graphs, and Y is bounded by those. We're going to find R first. So we're looking at our shape. This is R right here. All right, looking at our equations here. Are they x equations? Are they y equals? Or are they x equals equations? Y equals. So if they're y equals equations, we probably want to do them with respect to x. Okay, that means they have x in the problem. That means when I set up my bounds, I want to have x values. All right? So I'm obviously starting at 0. As I go, if I'm going with respect to x, that means I'm thinking about vertical lines here. So I'm thinking about drawing a line from there to there, there to there. That's my top, that's my bottom. That's my top, that's my bottom. What happens on this one? What happens right there? It changes. You have a different top line than a bottom line. So up until that section right there, from 0 to whatever this is, I don't know. I can't just look at it and tell. I'm going to call it A, and eventually we're going to figure out what A is. I need to know what that intersection point is. So from 0 to A, it's top curve minus the bottom curve. So in that section there, Cameron, what's my top curve going to be? Tan x. So tangent of x minus the bottom curve. What's our bottom curve here? 0, because it's touching the x-axis. Okay, it's that minus 0 dx. That's that first section. That's the purple integral that I've drawn so far. The problem is that's not it. We need to add to that another integral. Okay, because we still have more shaded region. Because now as I continue drawing my vertical lines, it's going from the other curve to the ground. So the other curve here is 2 minus x cubed to the ground. So it's minus the bottom curve, minus 0 dx. When am I going to start making this integral? At A, wherever they intersected, I'm going to figure out what A is. But right now I'm just going to write A. And I'm going to do that from A until when? That point right there, wherever that is. I need to know that intersection spot there too. I need to know what B is. That's going to be the key to this problem. I want to integrate this thing from A to B. If when you write your things like this, if this is the AP exam, and you just wrote A and B, you would not get points for that. Eventually, I'm going to come back and tell them what A and B are. I have to write down those decimals. All right, otherwise I won't get those points. So let's type that thing in. Y equals. I'm going to write in my two equations. Which one did they tell us first? Tangent x? No. I'm going to put tangent x as 1. Well, that's fine. I'm going to do tangent x as 1. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to take tangent x as y1. And what's the other one? 2 minus x cubed? 2 minus x cubed as y sub 2. I'm going to graph it. I already have my window changed, and it was probably a good window because of what we were looking at. This looks like my picture. It's nice to look at it and see, hey, yeah, that looks what the picture looks like. We said we needed 2 values. One of the values we needed was this thing right there. I want to know that because it's going to be my A. How do I find out where those 2 lines cross? Intersection. I'm going second, calculate the intersection. I want to know what A is, so I'm going to move my cursor. I don't know where my cursor is. Where is it? It's too far out. So there it is. I'm going to move my cursor until I think they're intersected. So about where they're on top of each other. That's close enough. It says first curve, question mark, hit enter. Second curve, it's in the same spot, hit enter. Guess, it's in the same spot, hit enter. There's my A value. Okay, so on my paper right now, where we said A equals, I'm going to write in that 0.9021 number. I don't like writing decimals, so I'm going to store it as A in my calculator. If you weren't here the other day, I'm going to show you how to do that. If you want to just write 0.9021, when you do your bounds, you can do that as well. But I don't like doing that. So here's what I'm going to do. Second quit, go back to my screen. Right now, what I have is an X value. If you just use the letter X in your calculator right now, it is 0.9021, that number I had. I'm going to save that number as the letter A. So I'm going to hit X. I want to store that X value as the letter A. So I'm going to go alpha A. And it will store that number as 0.0921. So now anytime I use the letter A, it's going to be that same number no matter what. Everybody good to there? How'd I get A? Alpha and then the letter A. You good? Okay. Go back to my graph. I've got A now. Great. I need to know B, and we said B was whatever this is. I want to know that value right there. What am I going to have to do to find that value? I'm calculating the 0 because it's where it intersects the x-axis. So I'm finding the 0. This time the question is left bound versus right bound. Remember what that means. You're moving that x. I need to get it on the right curve. So I hit the down button to get onto the correct curve. I want to be on that red curve. That's where I think it intersects. But the question is left bound. So I'm going to take where I think it intersects, but then move to the left a little bit to make sure it's to the left side of where it intersects and hit enter. Mine's nice because it draws that red line up there. That's the left side. Now I'm going to move it back to it, go a little bit beyond it to the right. I don't care if I don't see it. That's fine. I'm going to hit enter. Does my 0 happen between those two red lines that were drawn? That's what I want. So that's the right spot. There's my B value, 1.2599. So on my paper, I better write 1.2599. That way, as the person grades my paper, they know that I did the right thing. You will get a point normally on a question like this if your bounds are correct. I'm going to store that number as the letter B, though. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Second quit. I'm going to take that X value that I have, and I'm going to store it as the letter B. So alpha B. I want to store that thing as alpha B. Now, anytime I use B, it gives me that number. Questions are there? All right, let's go to actually typing this thing in now. So we've done all that work. There's my equation. I'm going to type in, come on. I'm going to type in that equation. So here we go. We're going math 9. We're going from 0 to A. So just alpha A. I don't have to do anything else. I'm just typing in A. Of tangent of x. You can type in tangent x, but which y value was that? It was y1. So I'm going to go alpha F4 and type in y1. If that bothers you, then just type in tangent x. But as you get better at this and the problems get a little bit harder, it might make more sense to just type in y1. Tangent x dx. There's my first equation. I'm going to let the calculator do the work. I'm not going to write down that answer. I'm just going to go right into the next one. That thing plus the second thing. The second thing, I'm going to bring this up in a different way. The second thing is that. I'm going plus math 9 from A to B. So alpha A to alpha B of this equation minus 0. Okay, so I can just type in 2 minus x cubed if you want, or you could type in y sub 2 dx. Type it in, hit enter. 0.7, how many decimals do we go? Start doing that, 0.729. That's the answer to question A. That was question A. Part B says find the area of S, so we're finding this area right here. We're going top line to bottom, okay? So top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. Did it ever change throughout that whole thing? No, it was always the same top and bottom. When did I start? This is a dx problem. We already had made that decision. It's a dx problem. So I want x values from 0 to a. You can't round those things weird. You got to put in 0.9021 if you want to do it. You got to go at least 4 decimals for bounds. I'm just going to use a because I already got it saved. That's why I like saving it, because I can just use that thing all the time. Top line, what's my top line here? 2 minus x cubed minus the bottom line. This time my bottom line is the other one. Tangent x. Type it in. Math 9, 0 to a. 2 minus x cubed minus tangent x. Again, you could have used y1 and y2 if you know what they were saved as. They were both pretty simple formulas, so I just typed them in. There's part B. Part A took us a long time. Part B took us no time. All right, that was super quick, and that's part of the reason why they do a part A and a part B. You did all the hard work in part A. They just want you to keep doing it in part B. 1.161. Questions there? Yep. So I'm always going to draw my lines down. It shows you that this line right here is this curve right here. Right? And so when I drew my lines, I went from the top to the bottom. I touched that line, and then the bottom is this one. I touched this one, the bottom is this one. That's top, that's bottom. If just drawing a vertical line throughout that will help me make that decision.